My name is Graham Elwood, and how about I'm here with Ron Placone, host of Get Your News On with Ron. How about a round of You Should Know This, the best
Graham,
show ever?
I watched after I say this, you should do a quick rundown of what this is. But first, I watched Taxi Driver and I live tweeted it.
I saw that. I saw
Did
you
you see
start.
that?
People, it was so fantastic. Your live tweet of Taxi Driver was probably one of the most amusing things I've read in quite a while, because I was like, here's a guy that doesn't watch any movies who's watching this like iconic AFI top 100 movie. And he's like, well, this is weird. Why is there in the taxi? Just like, it was just fucking fantastic, Ron.
Well, I remember like one of my favorite things that's ever happened on Twitter was like this dude who had never watched a hockey game before and knew nothing about hockey, watched a freaking hockey game and live tweeted it and freaking loved hockey at the end of it. And he was just like, the goalie's fucking leaving. Like he was just saying all this stuff. And it went viral. Like he tweeted, like it was supposed to be, I think he wanted to watch a basketball game and something got fucked up. So there was a hockey game on instead, or he got the schedule messed up. And he's like, it's supposed to be a basketball game. It's a hockey game. I don't like hockey. It's on ice. That's freaking weird. And then he starts watching it and he's live tweeting it. And he's like, they fought again. Like it's one of my favorite things I've ever seen. So I was like, I'm totally going to live tweet Taxi Driver.
It's beautiful because it's this movie from 1976 that most people have seen. Like any movie fan, cinephile knows it. And so to have somebody like just watch it for the first time, just blind react, it was beautiful poetry. Like, I hope you do more of this, Ron, with all the movies that I've told you to watch.
That I need to watch. Oh. Three Dog Night's coming up this weekend, man.
Three Dog Night?
Yeah.
Ron's going to live tweet Three Dog Night. I was still laughing. I've been laughing for a week at you saying garbage taxi.
Garbage taxi. We got to write that. Garbage taxi.
We have to write garbage taxi. That was like that. I mean, anytime I was like, whatever, stressed or depressed about something, I just think of you going garbage taxi.
Garbage taxi.
That really got me through a lot of tough times.
Do you think that the end of Taxi Driver, before we get off this, do you think that, I mean, we can kind of talk about the movie, right? I mean, it's been out so long. Like,
yeah, spoiler alert, we're going to talk about a movie that came out in 1976. So if you have not, you're like Ron, and you have not seen Taxi Driver, we're going to give away some key stuff in the movie.
And
Taxi Driver.
I mean, in a way, this isn't necessarily a spoiler per se, but do you think the end was him dreaming or actually what happened?
I think it's what happened.
Really?
Because I think you got to understand the context of when that movie came out, which is New York City in the 70s was just a violent, crazy place. It was up for grabs. And so it's really Martin Scorsese's commentary on somebody being like Travis Bickle's out of control and nuts. And, you know, he's a creepy loose cannon, but he kills some bad guys. And so now it's like vigilante justice. You gotta understand, New York was up for grabs in the 70s. So there was these subways called the Muggers Express, and you had the Guardian Angels come out. I mean, watch the movie Escape from New York, which is just sort of a sci-fi film, but what New York was going through. Watch any documentaries about New York in the 70s, and it was up for grabs. So this movie was really commenting on that and urban decay and urban violence and the media is like 10 times worse now, but like how someone can be depicted in the media. We see Travis Bickle get crazier and crazier as the movie edges on, and then he kills, Harvey Keitel and rescues this girl. And I mean, ultimately what he did was like, I guess, it was a good thing. He got this girl out of prostitution that was a teenage runaway or whatever, but he murders all these people. And then Sybil Shepherd is...
Yeah, I lean the other way. I think it was him dreaming. Because the letter was written in his voice. Why would a stranger write a letter? Like it was allegedly the family of the girl, but that's weird that their letter was written in the same voice as him. And then he randomly gets in his taxi again, and it's this real stoic interaction with her that would seem like how a dream would seem. Like it seemed like she was more of like a vision than she was actually there. She didn't really say much to him other than, "Oh, I heard about you in the papers." I think it was a dream, and that he was just laying there.
That's a great interpretation, Ron. That's really cool. I don't think that's accurate. I'd love to hear what Martin Scorsese says, and maybe you're right, but
I mean, I didn't come up with all this myself. I mean, it's like, I mean, I thought about it, and I kind of like took my own thing, and I'm like, well, all he ever wanted was recognition. That's what this guy wanted at the end of the day. And then I read like some different things other people were saying. And I'm like, yeah, I think I'm leaning more towards, it was a dream.
Yeah, so it's a theory people throw out there, which is kind of a great thing. That's what makes a movie great, in my opinion, that it isn't quite, you're not quite sure, and it is left up to the audience.
Yeah.
And people are still sort of discussing and debating this years later. I think it's fantastic. I love
it's
this
cool.
stuff.
It's cool that they never told too. I mean, I was a little disappointed when David, I mean, I know it's a TV show, not a movie, but I was a little disappointed when David Chase finally broke and spilled it. I was like, come on, man. That's why'd you do that?
Who spilled it?
Sopranos, David Chase.
Oh, yeah.
He eventually said, and it's just like, why'd you, I mean, and I was wrong, by the way. I was wrong about Sopranos, but
yeah, it's yeah, I like it when stuff's subject to interpretation like that. It's really cool. It's yeah, and again, it's why you watching these movies today, it's so interesting your take on it, because you weren't like the 70s. You didn't know, like you weren't there for that. You didn't see how New York City was just violent and crime everywhere. So
were you?
I was alive in the 70s. Yeah.
Yes, but were you in New York City in the 70s, Graham? Were you?
No, but you got to understand, I was not in New York City in the 70s.
When I was a kid in Wisconsin, let me tell you something. You weren't around yet, so you have no idea what it was like.
I drove a cab at age 6, Ron. You don't fucking know my life.
You were like Short Round from Indiana Jones. You were just in Manhattan, like, my dad teaches college, like driving a taxi.
Oh, no. That's fantastic. My point is, I did not see this movie when it came out because I was too young. So I saw it in a video store in probably the early 80s. So I was like 11 or 12 when it came out, right? So, but I already was old enough to know that New York's like all you saw in the news and all these movies and TV shows were just like New York is up for grabs. You just saw it in the news when New York City was blacked out for like 2 days or something like that. It was on the news. You always just saw anything news related about New York City in the 70s was just like riots, crime, just mayhem. That's all you heard was just New York City was mayhem. That's all you heard about. So, while no, I was not driving a cab in Manhattan at that age.
No, I hear you. I know what you mean.
No, I'm not saying your perspective is wrong. I'm just saying you have a different because you're watching this movie for the first time last week. It's really it's really yeah, I'd love to see you watch any of these classic movies like Gone with the Wind. Wow, why are they burning their fields? I mean, what's going on? Did the crops go bad? Like what happened? Just like I can't wait for you to do more of this, Ron. Like I would love to just
well, I could see how it was sort of the precursor, and it's not like a direct connection to either of these two films or stories, but it was kind of like this was sort of the OG that led to like American Psycho and Fight Club and stuff like that. That this angsty, I mean, it's a little different than each, but you can kind of see the connection.
Well, yeah, it's like you're listening to a band that came out in the 80s or 90s or 2000s, and you can tell that they were influenced by the Clash or the Ramones or something like that, right? Mm-hmm. Like that's what Taxi Driver is, and this is why the 70s. And here's a great book to read called Easy Riders, Raging Bulls about the 70s. And it's one of the most unique eras in movie history because the studio system that was in the 40s, 50s, and 60s started to fall apart late 60s. And in the 70s, they literally were like, they let artistic, that's why you had like Scorsese and Brian De Palma and Francis Ford Coppola just were given carte blanche to make these amazing movies, and they did well at the box office. So everybody was just like, fine. And then in the mid 80s, the big corporations started buying up the studios, and that's when you had all this blockbuster bullshit. So it's really it's a one of the more unique eras. It is the most unique era in movie history in America, at least.
Right.
It's a great book. Easy Riders, Raging Bulls. I tell anyone to read that book, and it really explains how these movies were shot, how crazy it was. I mean, just like you'll hear all the crazy shit. Francis Ford Coppola took 2.5 years to make Apocalypse Now. I mean, he was in the Philippines. Like it's nuts. Like what happened. I mean, all of it. The Deer Hunter.
Yeah. Dude, I'm actually reading Little Steven from Sopranos and the E Street Band. I'm actually reading his book right now. And I'm in the part where he's like really talking about the 70s and all about his experience as a 6-year-old cab driver in Jersey. And freaking, he's got a lot of stories, that guy. It's great. I'm loving it. But no, his stories are really freaking interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. When he was 6 years old in Vietnam. Yeah. All of that. Well, Ben, please live tweet more of these classic movies, Ron.
I will.
It is joyful for all of us, especially myself. So, all right. So here we're going to play. You should know this. So Ron will read a line from a popular song because I don't know much about music. And Ron knows a lot about music, and I'll try to guess it. And Ron will give me hints, and then I will say a line from a popular movie. That Ron probably won't know at all unless it's Garbage Taxi. And then we'll it's my favorite game to play. All right. I'm going to go first. So I'm going to turn off the chat so I don't see it.
All right. Show me how you do that trick. The one that makes me scream, she said. The one that makes me laugh, she said, and threw her arms around my neck.
It's so funny. You've picked some songs that I'm like, huh, what? Never. And then you'll pick some songs that literally I listened to this song 1,000 times. This is The Cure.
Yep.
And the song is called Show Me.
No.
Right. No. Shit.
He says the name of the song at the very end. You soft and lonely, you lost and lonely, you're
just like heaven.
There you go.
Boom.
There you go. That's the song.
I'll give you. So when I was in the dorms my freshman year, I would like play this song almost every day that I got up.
Me too. Actually,
that's so rad.
Different time, but yeah, me too.
I mean, I was driving a cab in New York, of course.
You were driving a cab in New York. I was in Bloomington, Indiana. I was taking cabs sometimes when I needed to. But
no, I was in my dorm in Tucson, Arizona, University of Arizona, in Sierra Dorm, which was underneath the football stadium. I'm not joking. And it was all like out-of-state kids that applied late for housing.
and that's how, yeah. Well, that's how the football team got pumped. They would listen to Just Like Heaven by The Cure. They'd be like, "You're a stranger's angel. Go team."
And they literally, it was 3 rows of bunk beds. It was 6 guys in a room.
Damn, dude. Seriously?
Oh yeah.
It was like you were in a youth hostel, not a dorm. Jeez.
Yeah. And it was under the stadium, so we never knew what the sun was like. And like people would walk by and we'd go out the window and be like, "Hey, what's the weather like?" Like we literally had no idea.
Your housing application's late. You have to live in a cave. It says here you're really passionate about Batman. That's good. He liked a cave. Hopefully you will too, young man.
Said he drove a cab in New York at age 6. All right, let's put him under the stadium because we don't trust this guy. He's a little travel bickly to us. And I would play that song, boom, boom, and one of the guys that lived next to me, Pete DiMartini, who you met.
Yeah, I met Pete.
He saw our show in Tucson.
Yeah.
And he and I later became roommates, sophomore, junior, senior, the rest of college. We were roommates, but he would always say, "God, when he lived next to me in the dorms, he's like, oh, this fucking Elwood guy is always playing this Cure song. And I had it on tape. This is how old school it was. And then I fell for this girl really hard.
Oh yeah. So then you had to listen to it way more.
Yeah, it was Karen Torfey. I fell for her so hard. So I'd play that song all the time. Yeah. So just like heaven from the Cure, baby. Boom.
Yeah, nice. Good job. All right. I got next time's got to be a little tougher. I've given you a couple easy ones in a row.
Had a couple ones just right across the plate.
You just nailed it. And I'm like, all right.
Gotta
get a little deeper cuts.
All right. Now this one. All right. This is the full quote. Mother, what's the phrase? She isn't quite herself today.
What? That sounds like a song. Mother, what's the she isn't quite herself today.
Mother, what's the phrase? She isn't quite herself today. I bet you somebody put this in a song. I wouldn't be shocked if they took this movie line and put it in a song.
Yeah. All right. Mother, what's fuck? Goodfellas.
No.
Is that close though? Is that like the vein?
No, it's not a gangster movie.
Okay.
It's I'll give you a hint. It's a horror
Mother's
movie.
not quite herself today. Mother's not quite as. It's a horror movie. Halloween.
No.
Friday the 13th. Is it Friday the 13th? Silence of the Lambs. Wait, that's Silence of the Lambs. No, that's not Silence of... Oh, fuck. I was thinking that was... What's his nuts? Yeah. No, that's something like you'd be
Anthony
like,
Hopkins.
Mother was not... No, well, yeah, Anthony Hopkins. I was trying to think the character's name. Hannibal Lecter.
Okay.
Your mother's not quite herself today, Clarice. Do you hear them crying? Mother's crying with the lambs, Clarice.
Oh, some fava beans and a nice chianti.
Fucking weirdo that guy was.
You know,
they you know what's funny, man? So some of that film was made in Pittsburgh, where where I grew up. And when I was in high school, one of my earlier jobs was I worked in a funeral home. I was a mortician's assistant.
What?
You didn't know that? I used to do a joke about it. Yeah.
Oh, no. God.
Yeah. I used to work in a funeral home, and they wanted to use the funeral home I worked in for like this thing in Silence of the Lambs, but like my boss was a very dedicated man to his work. So like he told them, yeah, no, I'm too busy. These people, they're dead. They can't wait. You can't film here. And so that's his big claim to fame. He's like, I was the first choice of Silence of the Lambs, but I said no.
I love when people are like proud of that. I turned him down.
Yeah.
Well,
whenever someone would ask me, I actually, you know what? It's funny. I tried to use that as a pickup line once, and it worked. It had a 1-for-1 record. There was this girl, and I was like, they were going to film Silence of the Lambs down there, but they couldn't. Sorry about your grandma. Can I get your number? Like, that was like.
Oh, could you just write your number on the back of this embalming fluid, this empty embalming fluid? That's all right. So this movie, you know how Taxi Driver is like the precursor to American Psycho, and
yes, yeah,
this movie is the precursor to the other ones you mentioned, Halloween and all that, Friday the 13th.
Exorcist.
Oh, good choice. Good choice. But even before that,
so this has to be like Hitchcock or something. So I'm gonna go Psycho, or was Psycho Hitchcock or no? But was it? I mean, that's just going like, it's funny. The only reason I know like some of these wait, hold on. Hybrid Moments. Was it Hybrid Moments?
The question is Psycho Hitchcock is like, is Can't Get No Satisfaction. Was that the Stones, or was that Canned Heat?
It was Three Dog Night.
It was Three Dog. Was it Three
Satisfaction.
Dog? It's Three Dog Night that said
That's Three
can't get
Dog
no
Night tune.
satisfaction. Right.
Yeah, of
Right.
course. Obviously. The Birds. It's got to be one of the. I mean, if it's the precursor to all that, like you're.
Ron. It is Alfred. I mean, like you
right.
yes, you guessed it, but then you stopped. You guessed away from it. I just started laughing because you like thought as it. Hitchcock?
Oh, so did I guess one of them? Was one of the ones I said it?
Yes.
Which one?
It's
Which
Psycho.
Oh, it is Psycho. Okay.
Do you know the plot of Psycho?
Yeah, vaguely. I mean, it's funny. A lot of these older titles, I only know them because of Misfits songs. Because like a lot of Misfits songs are just named after OG movies. So I'm just like, that's the only reason I knew Psycho was because like the Misfits sing about it a bunch. I've seen The Birds and I've seen what's the one where she's in the shower? Is that Psycho?
That is Psycho, Ron. That's correct.
Oh, then I've seen Psycho, Graham, but I've never been like sober sitting down watching it through and through. I've been.
Everybody just has Psycho playing in the background when they're having like friends over.
Well, yeah, like in Halloween time, you're all just like, yeah, it's just on in the background.
Just this horrific shower scene.
Everyone's in costume, and I'm like, hey, this is a girl I met at a funeral home. Meet some of my buddies here, like that's what you do at Halloween.
This is the girl I met at a funeral home. Oh God.
You know what? This is actually, it comes full circle. This like I was so I did actually meet a girl at my funeral home job, and we we dated for a little bit, nothing serious, and then just kind of like stayed friends, whatever. It didn't go anywhere. But like we kept in touch a little bit, and then, went our separate ways as people do in life. And then years later, I'm kind of in like a little bit outside of the city. And this is like when I'm doing comedy. And I'm at this hell road gig, like just this terrible, people were not expecting comedy road gig. The bar is loud. No one gives a fuck. I'm just fucking like up there, and I'm just like, shit, mostly doing crowd work to just get through the time. And then I hear this girl go, I think I dated that guy. And it was her.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I think I dated that guy. Like,
yeah, she just said it out loud. And some of her friends were like, did you? And I was just like, oh, I mean, I had to acknowledge it. And then I was like, yeah, we went out a few times in high school. All right. Well, Pittsburgh's a small town, I guess.
Tip the wait staff.
Yeah, right.
You want to buy some merch? Like,
it actually helped the show. I mean, I was able to riff on it a little bit, and then they like they kind of like it. I was endeared to them a little bit. They were like, maybe we should listen to this guy do his thing because he dated our friend, and he seems funny. He just made us laugh. Let's give him a chance, But anyway. And I think Psycho was playing in the background that night. I'm pretty sure. I complained to the staff. I was like, are you going to turn off the movie? And they're like, no, Psycho's playing. My favorite line's the one about the mom feeling weird. It's about to happen. Shut up and do your show, comedian. I was like, all right.
So the reason I asked if you know the plot is because if you really knew the plot, you would have guessed it sooner because... I mean, again, here comes some spoiler alerts, folks, for the movie Psycho that came out in 1960, black and white movie, directed by Alfred Hitchcock, starring a young Anthony Perkins. Is Norman Bates's mom is the murderer, but it really isn't her; it's Norman.
Well, it's kind of like Jason, man. I mean, Jason's mom was the first, so that's kind of where that happened. Oh, yes, that's weird how that happens.
Everything came from Hitchcock, man. I mean, like, that's what he says is, "Oh, mother isn't." How do I say? What's the phrase? She's not quite herself today. Like, there's all these like lines in there that after you see the movie, when you watch the movie a second time, you're like, "Oh, wow," It's like, well, a boy's best friend is his mother. Like he says that stuff, and then he dresses up like his mom and murders everybody. So
I gotta give it a spin, man. I'll live tweet it. I'll be like, this isn't a Misfits song. This is Most people know this movie from the Misfits song. It's that movie the Misfits sing about.
Yeah, it's that Misfits movie song.
That poor Alfred guy, no one knew him, and then thank goodness for the Misfits, fucking singing about his shit so they could discover him years later.
Yeah, Alfred
Wonder what
Hitchcock really
happened to them.
owes the Hitchcock estate really owes the Misfits a lot, I think,
Yeah.
for keeping him alive. Of course, I've never heard of the Misfits, but I love that you're not really familiar with Hitchcock. I just because like there was a whole class I had in college dedicated to Alfred Hitchcock. Like it's so
No, I mean he's a genius. I mean, yeah, I've seen
yeah.
Birds and I've seen like random Hitchcock stuff. My parents loved Hitchcock, so they would kind of like play it when I was too young to like really
Mm.
understand it or appreciate it. So they would just like, I was just like, why does he always just stand with his belly out before the movie starts? Why does he do that? Like I didn't,
That's
I
from the
was too
TV show.
young, huh?
They were watching the Alfred Hitchcock Presents, which is a TV show. Yeah.
Oh no shit. Yeah. See,
Bum,
I
bum,
was
bum, bum,
too.
bum, 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 bum.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they were really into that. That was their jam, and I see, I didn't even realize they weren't watching movies. It just went over my head. I was too young to appreciate it or understand it.
This is so great. Yeah, I won't even ask you what a MacGuffin is, but
So he doesn't do that profile thing in the movies? That's
he
not
doesn't do
just
the
always.
profile thing in the movies. The profile thing was for the TV show, but he would make a cameo. He was one of the first people to ever do that. He's in every one of his movies. Like in the background walking dogs, or he comes into the store and buys a bag and leaves. Like he's in the back, he's in the background of all of his movies. So any director since then that does a little cameo, they're all doing that from Hitchcock.
Man, yeah, that tracks. Well, doesn't Stephen King do that too?
Stephen King, he's in some of his things, and then I'm blanking on the one director's name who put
He'll
C
probably
next to.
Stephen King will be in his next thing, and he'll be like holding up a Biden 2024 thing, being like, "Don't be a purist." That'll be like his only line. It won't even fit in. They'll be like, "What's that guy? What's he
What's
doing?
his deal?
What's his deal?"
Was he a New York cab driver when he was 6?
Writing stories like in between trips.
Well, Ron, I gotta say, this is one of the quicker You Should Know This we've played on both sides.
Yeah, this was a good one, man. You nailed it, and I got there quicker than last time, at least. Just
Yes.
yeah,
This episode will be called You Should Know This, Show Me and the Misfits.
Show Me and the Misfits. That's I like that. That has a nice ring to it.
Because I got it when I titled this, I always clip this out and I put it on YouTube and Rockfin. So I'm always like, I can't just call it You Should Know This. And I can't say what the movies and films are in the title. That'll give it away. So I came up with it last week. I was like, something in Garbage Taxi is what I put in.
Taxi.
I put fighting the law. I put law fighting and Garbage Taxi is what I put in there. Because you did the.
So we have one that could be called like Joey Motorhead and like
Three Dog Night.
Yeah, that's a recurring.
Well, this was fantastic, Ron Placone. Where can people watch your stuff? I know you've got some tour dates coming out in April. I hope Omicron is done by then, and I hope you and I can go back on the road. I really miss performing with you, dude. I miss doing shows.
Yeah, no shit, man. But you can find me on YouTube, Ron Placone, Twitter at Ron Placone, Rockfin Ron Placone, Instagram Ron Placone, and you can get your news on with Ron wherever you get audio podcasts. And you can go to ronplacone.com, get tickets. I'll be up north in April. I'm going to Pittsburgh, Toronto. Speaking of it, we talked about Canada a lot. I'm going to Canada in April, Toronto, Ottawa, Montreal, then coming back down, doing Portland, Maine, Burlington, Vermont, Boston, Massachusetts, New York City, baby. And you can get tickets at ronplacone.com. And I'm going to have a local LA show February 10th, assuming things are a little, less crazy. But February 10th should be at Flappers Comedy Club. I've got some other funny folks that'll be on that show as well. So ronplacone.com for all those tickets.
Nice. All right, dude. Well, good to see you, my friend. And we'll talk soon.
All right, Graham. Be well, buddy.
All right, later. Hey, everybody. Thanks for watching. We are still in our like 9th month of demonetization from YouTube. So support what we're doing at patreon.com/Graham Elwood or rockfin.com/Graham Elwood, which is a blockchain cryptocurrency platform. It's free to sign up, and there's a premium level at $10 a month. And for that, you get everybody on the platform's premium content. Myself, Lee Camp, Ron Placone, Jimmy Dore, Whitney Webb, Kim Iverson, Abby Martin, and many, many others. You can also support what we're doing at Venmo at Graham-Elwood and go to GrahamElwood.com. We have a PayPal button and a PO box. I also have crypto wallets, which are all in the show notes. Thanks for supporting what we do.